Hi, this is case study group number 6. Our topic is on gluten and work productivity. Out of the request of the Texas Governor Rick Perry, a task force team was developed to address this problem. Hi, my name is Lisette and I'll be talking about the gluten challenge and the history of gluten in the food supply. The first challenge is the lack of awareness of the disease. For a long time, it was thought that the disease was rare in the United States. Another challenge is the difficulty in establishing diagnosis due to the fact that many people do not consult doctors. Instead, they go on a gluten-free diet on their own. The third challenge is the economic burden of gluten-free products, which are very expensive. The fourth is the increased availability of gluten products for gluten-intolerant disease. Today, many people wonder why there seems to be a sudden increase in the prevalence of gluten intolerant. The answer to this question lies in the fact that wheat from 100 years ago is not the same one we consume today. Technological advancements have increased the productivity and increased the wheat, making it more accessible to the public. With the increased accessibility of wheat containing gluten, new ways to use the wheat began to emerge. The following are changes of wheat consumption throughout the U.S. history. In the late 1890s, breakfast cereal was invented as a health food to help people with digestive problems. In 1920, during the Great Depression and World War II, a decrease in wheat consumption was due to war rationing was seen. In 1960s and through 1970s, with the increased concern of heart disease and cholesterol, whole wheat became to be a good alternative to target these problems. And between 1970 and 1980, the rise of fast food industry also dramatically increased the consumption of wheat. And from the 1990s to present, the increase of sales of gluten-free product rose to a $17 billion industry. What is gluten? Gluten is defined as a cohesive, viscoelastic material derived from isolating starch from wheat flour, which is made up of amino acid and constitutes storage protein essential for the growth of wheat plants.
Hi, my name is Aisha Rafiq and I'll be talking about the uses of gluten in the food industry as well as the biological mechanism of gluten and the way it affects the health. Gluten is used in a wide variety of baking and wheat products, in meat products, and in the fortification of low-protein food. Why? It is used because of its high protein content as well as its ability to retain bubbles when mixed with water. Biological pathways and mechanism of action of gluten. In normal individuals, gluten is absorbed in the small intestine. In gluten-intolerant individuals, it causes malabsorption. Why? Because undigested bits of gluten deposit in the intestinal wall, which are then attacked by the body's immune system. This attack or gluten intolerance is seen as autoimmunity, which is antibodies against our own cells, allergies, or simply as gluten sensitivity. Gluten sensitivity is a combination of vomiting, diarrhea, behavior changes, bone or joint pain, muscle cramps, leg numbness, weight loss, and chronic fatigue. All of these are due to nutritional deficiencies in gluten intolerance. Autoimmune diseases include celiac disease, neurological problems, as well as skin problems. Celiac disease consists of long-term diarrhea causing nutritional deficiencies like gluten sensitivity. These nutritional deficiencies result in fatigue, bone and joint pain, mouth ulcers, hormonal imbalance, cancer. Neurological problems consist of difficulty walking, headache, migraine, dementia, and seizures. Skin problems include blisters, itching, and burning sensation. Gluten allergy consists of occupational asthma, nasal congestion or rhinitis, and contact urticaria. Gluten sensitivity has been described before. My slides will be followed by Nolan. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nolan Broussard and I'm going to discuss the epidemiology of associated outcomes and symptoms. There are a number of group symptoms that epidemiologic studies have shown to be associated with gluten. I call them group symptoms because, for the most part, they are not diseases as they are classically defined, except for celiac disease and During's disease. About 23% of ataxia patients, or patients presenting with a nonspecific lack of voluntary muscle coordination, are shown to have higher than normal sensitization to gluten. Gluten sensitivity has been estimated to affect nearly 7% of the US population and at a rate 2.5 times greater in females than males. Gluten allergy is estimated to affect between 2 and 4% of the US population. Celiac disease, which causes such symptoms as chronic diarrhea, abdominal distension, vomiting, and in rare cases, infertility and anemia, is suggested to have a prevalence of 5.44 per 1,000. Finally, During's disease, or dermatitis herpetiformis, is a condition classified by chronic blisters resembling herpes, though it's actually associated with gluten and has a prevalence of about 1 in 10,000. Another issue that deserves discussion is workforce productivity. It's a significant outcome and is strongly affected by gluten intolerance. About 1.8 million Americans are diagnosed with celiac disease, and about 17 million Americans are thought to have non-celiac gluten sensitivity. Thus, about 6 to 7% of the workforce is affected. These figures remain underestimated due to the lack of proper and consistent diagnoses. It is our opinion, then, that gluten intolerance and sensitivity is responsible for a greater than expected challenge to workforce productivity.
And then it's your
Hi, I'm Pamela Serra. Now that we have understood some key concepts of gluten and explored the gluten challenge, it is time to move on to our proposed action plan. Our recommendations for the general public are to be aware of the symptoms and risk factors associated with gluten intolerance, and also increase your surroundings' awareness about the issue. High-risk groups are those with malabsorption, iron deficiency anemia, joint pain of unknown etiology, chronic liver disease of unknown etiology, hormonal disturbances, and family history of celiac disease. If you fall in any of these risk groups and have chronic gastrointestinal symptoms, it's time to talk to your primary care provider for a screening test to detect gluten intolerance. If you're already diagnosed with any gluten-related condition, it is imperative for you to follow a strict gluten-free diet. Our recommendations for the physicians are to update knowledge on effective screening and treatment of gluten-related conditions. Researchers can also help in studying increased prevalence of non-celiac gluten sensitivity and celiac disease, doing more research on studying effective screening biomarkers for improved diagnosis, and research on drugs like liraglutide for inhibiting the autoimmune mechanisms involved. At the policy level, we have some recommendations for our advertisers and mass media who can help increase awareness about the gluten issue through TV advertisements, radio, newspapers, at workplaces, schools, communities, and events. The manufacturing wheat industry needs to invest funds and time to ensure minimal contamination of gluten-free products with gluten. And finally, a word of advice for our healthy population who think that gluten is toxic to all. Don't go on a gluten-free diet if you're not sensitive or intolerant to its consumption. Do not ignore the healthy, nutritious benefits of gluten. Always remember, sense needs to prevail over sensibility while deciding what's the best for you. Thank you so much for your time. We hope you enjoyed the slideshow.